Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. That makes sense, doesn't it? That's all we talk about here is learning to peace out and just learning to trust God. That doesn't mean that we push a button and we've got peace forever and all is bliss. It means that all day long, every single day, we have to come back to that peace that he gave us, right? It's more of a training thing when something happens, and and it still seems like it's stealing your peace. We have to just stop and go, God, I'm going to trust you for this. I'm going to trust you with this. I'm going to trust you with me, even, right? And it's just that all day thing of coming back to God and learning to just trust him, actually, just over and over and over again, right? But it's kind of cool, isn't it? Are you getting faster at it? I think I'm getting a little bit faster instead of hours and days and weeks and months. Maybe it's taking just a day, maybe just a couple of hours, right? Hopefully I'm getting hopefully we're all getting just a little bit faster about going, hold up, I do not have to stress over this. God's got my back. Now that doesn't mean that nothing is ever going to happen to stress you again. That doesn't mean that nothing ever is ever going to happen again that's going to make you, give you cause for alarm or cause for worry or cause for concern, right? But it just means that over and over we just keep taking it back to God and trading our anxieties, trading our concerns, trading our situations for his peace over and over and over again, right? And you know what? Here's the coolest part. He's always right there. Always. Right? All right. So let's get on today's peaceful lessons. It's peaceful FULL lessons, right? Before I get too far in, I did put the link to my growing Amazon bookstore. The latest book is up there, Affirmations for Caregivers. I've got some plans for this book that I'm working on right this minute, how to use it a little bit, maybe make some videos with it. But so I've got some plans for it. But as I'm speaking about plans, that's actually what we're going to talk about today. I titled this a fail-proof plan. Now, it's really nice to have a fail-proof plan if you're maybe you're gonna play a game or play a sport or go on a trip, build a business, start a website. You want to have a plan that's not gonna fail, right? Well, God has a fail-proof plan. That's what we're going to talk about because God has plans. And I was back in, excuse me, I was back in Psalm 34 this morning, but my eyes fell over into Psalm 33. Both of these pages in my Bible are all marked up with underlines and circles and notes in the margins, right, and little arrows out to this and uh, all these little notes. But my eyes tend just kind of gravitated over to Psalm 33, verse 11. It says this: the counsel of the Lord stands forever. His wisdom is always good. His word is always good. No matter what our situation is, we can find hope, we can find comfort, we can find direction, we can find wisdom, we can find understanding, right? He gives wisdom, and out of his mouth, out of his word, comes understanding. So God, and that stands forever. God never pushes a reset button. God never turns it all off. God never says, we got to change this now because times have changed. I was thinking about how much times have changed yesterday as I was out walking a little bit, and I was just like, man, and I'm trying to figure out what do I need to do to adapt to this world that we live in. I don't want to be stuck in the 60s or 70s, although they were a little bit calmer in some ways, and in some ways they weren't, right? But I want to keep up with the kind of our culture. That doesn't mean I want to be like it always, right? But his counsel is still good today. It's as good as it today as it was when he started with Abraham, when he started with Moses, when he started with Adam and Eve. His counsel still stands today. God's wisdom is still good today. God's peace, thankfully, is still good today. He doesn't have any off buttons. He doesn't have to renew. He doesn't have to recertify. He doesn't have to reboot. It's always good. It's always relevant, no matter what we are facing as a generation, right? And so he says, the counsel of the Lord stands forever, verse 11 of Psalm 33. But get this part: the plans of his heart to all generations. God's plan reaches to us And the coolest thing is, I've got 2 generations already behind me, right? And maybe in the next decade or so, I'll have another generation behind me. God's plan didn't go to our generation, my generation, the 60s babies, and go, that's it. After that, I do not have a plan after that. No, God's plan reaches to, get this, all generations, to you, to your children, to your grandchildren. His plan still stands. Right now, we read in Job the other day where it says, none of your purposes, or we could say plans, none of your plans can be changed. None of your plans can be misdirected. None of your plans can be interrupted. That's a powerful thing. Because what I want to do is go over to Jeremiah 29:11, and this is a really familiar verse. If you've been around church circles much at all, has become a very familiar verse. And God says through the prophet in Jeremiah 29:11, I know the thoughts I think toward you. And I believe it says, some translations, I think the King James says, that I have plans for peace and not for evil. God planned to give us peace before he said, let there be light. God planned to give us peace before Adam and Eve even messed everything all up, right? He said, I know the thoughts I think for you, thoughts and plans of peace, not of evil. I plan to give you a future and hope. God was planning at this point. Still, the plan was to send Jesus, and that plan never changed. That plan was enacted before God said, let there be light, before he separated the waters and the ground, before he created this ecosystem that was self-sustaining. It's still self-sustaining itself. We're messing it up, a lot of it, but it's still self-sustaining, right? The way God made it. The plants we see here came from that creation's day. There's not new stuff. We may have changed some things, but what God put in action there still stands in nature, and it still stands in us. His plans are still to give us hope. His plans are still to give us peace, right? His plans are still, it says, when you seek me and find me, you will find me when you search for me with all your heart. I love this phrase, I will be found by you. Basically, God's saying, his plan is to let us find him. He's not saying, seek all your life and maybe right before you die, I'll say, there I am, surprise, you almost didn't find me. No, he didn't play a game of hide and seek, right? He says, I will be found by you when you look for me. So when we look for God, he doesn't stand far off and act like, good luck, and make it hard for us to find him. He reveals himself to us. He steps out. He goes, yeah, I'm right here. You found me. Oh man, I'm not very good at hiding, right? Did your dad ever do that when you were a kid? Play hide and seek with you, and you knew that he wasn't really hiding, or he let you find him, or he hid in a silly place, and then so you could find him, right? And that's the way God does it. God's not hidden from us. His plan is for us to find him. His plan, before he said, let there be light, was to give us peace. His plan, before he created everything, was to give us hope, to give us a future. He already planned to send Christ. And the cool thing is, this plan goes to all generations. Every generation that can be numbered and counted, or can't be, or that got missed somewhere along the way. It doesn't matter. God's plan is still for hope and peace and joy, relationship. That's God's plan. You can't interrupt it. Now, you cannot accept it, and you can live contrary to it, but his plan is still intact. His plan is still to give you hope, to give you a peace, to give you a future, and to love you. You can't interrupt God's love for you. You can choose to not walk in it. You can choose to not walk in the peace he gives. You can choose to not acknowledge the hope he gives. You can choose to embrace fear, doubt, self-pity. What else can we embrace, right? We choose what we want to embrace. So today, let's choose our plan. Let's make our plan today to accept God's peace and walk in it, to accept his love, which seems so basic, but it's so simple, yet it's so deep. We miss it all the time. I just read in First John how Behold the manner of love that God has bestowed on us, that we should be called his children. He loves us so, so very much, right? So what's your choice today? Walk according to his plan, hope, peace, love, all these things, right? Or just embrace the evil in the world, embrace the discord in the world, embrace fear, doubt. Well, who are you going to hug today? You want to hug God and get all of his love and hope and peace? Or do you want to hug the spirit of the world and get lost in fear and confusion and stress and all of that? I think I'm going to choose to just try to find God's plan for me today. And I think I'll just stay close to him because he says when I look for him, I can find him. So I'm just going to look for him in my day today. And then I know I'll be able to peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you bright and early Monday morning.